Hey guys, I hope you're doing fine. This is Ankit Bhatia and welcome back to my channel. Now today we're gonna talk about the basics of photography. So here's the thing: if you wanna learn anything, you have to start with the basics first. Like your basics should be very clear. So here we're talking about photography. So your shutter, your aperture, your ISO, these things you should know very clear. Even before clicking a picture, you should know what your picture is going to look like. So if you know these three things, you will know how your picture is going to look like. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I was just going through my gallery and I saw that I started with photography first. Even before like entering into the videos, I clicked a lot of different pictures with different settings, and I knew all these things, and that's when I entered into the videos. So let's talk about it. And before that, I want to say one thing: that wait until the end of the video, because I have a little surprise for you and you will be able to win some money. So let's start with the first one, that is aperture. So what is aperture? Aperture is basically opening of the lens. Like you're seeing a nice shallow depth of field right now. My face is in focus and you're seeing the background is in, like, it's blurry, right? So that's the shallow depth of field. So that is dependent on the aperture. Like as you increase the aperture, your shallow depth of field will decrease. So right now I know what I'm shooting at and I'm getting a nice shallow depth of field. So f at 1.4 or f1.8, you will get a nice crispy, blurry background, and your face or the subject will be in focus. So let's talk about the portraits. Like if you're clicking portraits, you want your subject to be in focus and rest everything in out of focus. So check this photo that I clicked at f1.8, and now check this photo that I clicked at f8. So you will see a difference in the photo, in the blurriness of the background. So that's how the aperture affects the photo. But you know what? As you will increase the aperture value, your photo will become dark or it will become underexposed. So you have to compensate with the other settings, that is shutter and the ISO. So now let's talk about the shutter. So what is shutter? Shutter is basically that controls the movement of a scene. Like you want to click some running action and you want that scene to be super sharp. So what you will do, you will use a higher shutter value. Shutter value means the time taken for a particular photo. So you will set a higher value like f by 1/4000. So when you will click a button to click the photo, then what will happen at the time, it will take just 1/4000 of a second to click that photo. So if you have some running action, that movement will be freezed like that because it took so much less time. Now, if you will click the same photo at f1/50th, so if you are clicking a picture in 1/50th of a second, something will be blurry or not that sharp because you have taken more time to click the same photo. Now let's take another example where you want to use a lower shutter value. So let's take an example of the waterfall. You must have seen a lot of pictures where you see the flow of the water is so smooth. So how that happens, that they use the lower shutter value. Let's say they exposed the camera sensor for that 1 second. Let's say I set the value of shutter to 1 second. So your camera shutter will be open for that one whole second, and it will capture everything that is coming on the sensor, and it will make just a smooth blurry photo of that water flowing it. So that's how your shutter affects it. And you know what, if you will use a more shutter value, the more light will enter onto the sensor and your scene will be too bright or overexposed, or in layman terms it will be too bright, like you won't be able to see anything. So again, you have to compensate with other two settings like aperture and the ISO. In this case, you want everything to be in focus. You're just clicking a waterfall picture and it's a landscape kind of photo, so you can increase the aperture value to f22. So you can compensate by using a higher aperture value, like your light will decrease and you will get everything in focus. Okay, now that you have set shutter and the aperture, but your scene does not look properly exposed, like is it either underexposed or overexposed, or in layman terms, is it like super bright or dark? So now what you will do, you will use the ISO. What is ISO? ISO is basically the sensitivity of your camera sensor. It's an artificial light that your camera adds to the photo. So you can increase the ISO to get the properly exposed photo, or you can increase the brightness in the photo just by increasing the ISO. But remember, you cannot go much higher value in the ISO, otherwise you will start seeing the grain on the noise in the photo. So every camera has a signal to noise ratio. That is really important. Most of the people don't know about it. So my camera Sony 7 III has a signal to noise ratio of 3600. So I can use the ISO till 4000 and I won't see any grain in my photo. And I also have a 6300, which has a signal to noise ratio of 1600. So if I'll go beyond 1600 of ISO, then I'll start seeing the grain and a little bit of noise. So whenever you're purchasing a camera, make sure you check the signal to noise ratio. It's always mentioned in the specification. So make sure you check this out. That's an important tip for you. So if I'll click the same photo with the same settings with a different camera, I'll get a different image. Like I'm talking in terms of ISO. If you'll click the same photo at 4000 ISO, I may see a little bit of grain in Sony 6300 but not in the other camera. So that's how ISO affects the photo. Okay, now you know the basic settings. Let's talk a little bit about the camera lenses. So for different type of photography, you need different kind of lenses. Like for portrait photography, you need prime lenses, which has a lower aperture value like f1.4 and f1.8. You can get a nice shallow depth of field. So the 35mm f1.8 or 85mm f1.8 is a good lens for portrait photography. So for landscape, you need a wide angle lens because you need a wide shot. So 10mm, 16mm, 24mm, this will be a good lenses for landscape. And if you can get a prime wide angle lens, that will be really beneficial. Like think about it, I have 16mm f1.4 lens which I use for vlogging or for landscapes, and like if I need to click some landscape, I'll set the aperture to f10 or f8. But at the same time, if I'm clicking the photo at night time, I can use an aperture value to compensate for the exposure. So I can use 16mm and f1.4 and I can get a wide angle view and I can expose the photo correctly because of f1.4. So that is my favorite lens for landscape. And for wildlife photography, you need a telephoto lens. Like you cannot go closer to the subject. Your subject will be really far from you. So you need that zoom within the lens only. So for wildlife photography, 200mm, 300mm is a good lens that you can get a nice zoom within the camera only. And with that said, guys, now you know the basics of photography. Now I want you to go out and click some nice pictures and share with me your best photo through a contest that I am hosting on Shutout. And I want you to go and participate in that contest. I'll mention the link in the description and one of you will be selected as a winner. So Shutout is a brand new social photography contest platform for people who love photography. So I have created the contest and there are two types of entries. So one is basic entry and one is premium entry. With the basic entry, you will be able to see how good your photos are. But with the premium entry, which is of $2, you will be able to win the prize. You will be actually able to win the competition. So I've already started the contest with a $50 and prize will go higher as you will enter more with the premium entry. Each premium entry, the prize will increase and one of you will be selected as a winner. And you know what? Thanks for parting with the Shutout. You will get a $2 bonus entry when you will register through the link that will mention in the description. So by just registering it, you can enter with the premium entry and you can actually win the prize. And there is more. Only until the end of this year, Shutout is giving away lifetime free membership to the first 10,000 people who will enter with the premium entry. And it's a great deal, right? With just $2, you will getting a lifetime free membership and you can apply in any number of contests and you can win the prizes and you can even host your contest. So please participate in the contest and let's see that how it goes. And I'll see you next time. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.